Hey guys, in this video I wanted to go ahead and show you how to create a Minecraft skin and upload it to Minecraft. And the reason why I want to go ahead and do this is just because I wanted to create a Minecraft skin, but I found it a little difficult to try to find out how to start off. So that's one thing I wanted to try to emphasize and show you so that it makes it a lot easier for you if you're still trying to figure out how to create a Minecraft skin. I'll just show you the source that I use, which is basically what it is. It's just using a source and downloading it as a file and being able to upload it. And then I'm also going to show you how to upload it to Minecraft so that you can start using the skin in your game. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just explain a walkthrough, and then I'm going to go ahead and get started on designing my skin. I don't know if I'm going to be using this all the time or if it might be temporary or whatever, but we'll see. But just to kind of give you a baseline, what you want to do is you want to go on a website, and right now what I'm on is a website called Novaskin. You can also use another website called Skindex, but Novaskin is something that I liked a little bit more, so that's the reason why I'm using Novaskin instead. I believe there's one more that you can use as well, but Novaskin and Skindex are the two most popular that you can use, and Novaskin is the one that I'm using right now. Now it's pretty simple, and you can also look to the left. There's also preset skins that you can use, so if you wanted to use any of those, you can. If you didn't want to have to go through a whole starting from scratch with the design like you have right here, which would just, if you was to just upload this, it would just be a black skin in Minecraft. So you want to go ahead and put everything, all the details that you want. And if you didn't want to have to like go through the basis or anything, you can kind of like preset a skin and kind of change it up how you want. It's all up to you, but I'm starting from scratch just because I have a different design in mind. It's a little complicated, but some of the basis for this that you would want to make sure you pay attention to is, so you see if I highlight over here, it kind of just changes the color a little bit over the box. But if I go ahead and click this, it would remove that part of whatever I'm trying to edit. So if I'm trying to edit the face, then I would leave this on, and I would click all of the check marks off, make sure the check marks are off and nothing's highlighted, and I would just have the face. If I wanted to kind of, go underneath and be able to fill in the gaps so that everything blends in clearly, because you don't want to have everything and let me just re-click all of this. So you don't want to have everything and you miss the gaps underneath. Like, let's say these gaps under here you won't be able to get to unless let's say I move the center, and now I can access the underneath. So you want to make sure you get in all of the gaps. And another big important thing too is, you can see here there's actually an orange outline around the check mark or around whatever this is. So if you want to have like a hat layer or a cape or a jacket or something like that, you would want to make sure that it's checked and there's an orange outline around to the part that you want to edit. The reason why is because the orange outline is showing you that that is the outer layer, and if you click it, then it gets rid of the orange outline and then it becomes the inner layer. So you can see here when you highlight over it, there's kind of like a little white outline right here. That's just showing you that that's the outer layer that's highlighted. And if you don't want to edit the outer layer, you go ahead and unselect all of those or deselect all of those, and now you can start editing the inner layer. And the inner layer is the one that's really going to be shown unless you want to show both the outer and the inner layer in Minecraft. Here you would select the different types of colors. So you have a whole spectrum of colors that you can choose from. You can also change how light it is, I would say. So let's say I'm on green and I push this all the way up, it's going to give me a light green color. But let's say I want that same color green, but I pull it down a little bit. Now it's going to be a little bit of a darker green. So it's kind of like a shadow effect. You can select any type of color that you want, and you can select its intensity to the right side. Here the paints, it's a little difficult to use because for some reason I feel like it only selects the first color that's next to it, so I don't really use the paint. But what the paint would do it would just kind of fill in the same color for whatever you have edited. So we had colors only in this area, so it's just going to fill it in here. If you click anywhere outside, it doesn't really do anything, so it's kind of useless to me. Right here we have the eraser, obviously self-explanatory. It just erases whatever color you had, but you can most likely just kind of go over the previous color that you use to kind of overlap it rather than having to erase it. So it's not as useful, but you can still use it if you would like. And there's also line, which is something I was playing around with, but you can kind of have like a different color spectrum depending on the colors that you have on what's adjacent to the line, which is pretty cool. But I still didn't use it because I want to kind of customize it a little bit more. But this kind of has like a nice effect to it if you're interested in using a color like that as well. And this over here, the palettes, I was not able to really find out what this does, and I was not really able to find out what this does either. So basically, these five you don't really need to use. The only things you would really need to use is the colors that you have right here. There's about 6 different colors that you can kind of have preset at the same time, so you can kind of switch between these. And if this is whatever color you want to use and you want to go a little bit faster, you can use the paint bucket as well. But really the colors is really all that you would need. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention as well. If you click this down arrow where it says parts, it shows you all of the parts that will be displayed that you can start editing. So right now, all of the parts are visible, which is the reason why you can see the whole figure. But let's say we go down here and we select head. Now we can only see the head, and it selects not the outer layer or both the outer and the inner layer, but only the inner layer. And you can see that through just the check mark and no outer orange layer. If you select hat, then it actually shows you the head with the outer layer, so the check mark with the orange layer. And if we hover over, now we can see the outer layer. If you go down and you press select jacket, then you'll see the body part. If you select body, you would see the inner part. So the jacket would be the outer layer, and the body would be the inner layer. So all of this down here where it says overlay is the outer layer, and the default layer is everything that is the under layer. And then if you wanted all of them to be shown at the same time, you would have all of the inner layer parts being shown and the outer layer parts. These things at the top, I'm not too sure exactly what these do, but I know that just selecting this will give you a full screen, and that would make it just a little bit nicer when you're editing whatever colors you're putting on, and you wouldn't have to see like a bunch of ads on the side or whatever. Other than that, I mean, there's not too much to do with this top bar. You can kind of see your character animated as well. Just kind of play around with it and see what you can get out of it. But for the most part, this is all that you would need in order to create your custom skin. So let's go ahead and let's clear that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to deselect all of these parts, and then I'm going to set up whatever colors I want to use, and I'm going to go ahead and get started on the colors that I'm going to start putting on my character. Okay, so now we have the skin. What we have to do is whatever device you're using it on, you want to make sure you go ahead and save it to that device and make sure you know where it's located so that you can go ahead and access it later on once you put it in the game. So we're just going to give it a name. This is, it's already given the name that for the first skin that I was just testing with before I made the video. But for the name, let's call it Blue Man with arrow. It's a blue man. Alright, so now we have the description of it. So now when we locate it, it would already have the name and everything. So we're going to click save. And now it's saved. But what you want to make sure you do is also download it. It's saved on here. Or it's saved on what we're using on Novaskin. But what you want to do is download it so that it goes to the device that you're using. So when you click download, now it goes to the device that you're using. And what I like to do is I always like to show which folder it's in so that I understand exactly where to go. So now what I'm going to do is, because I want to make sure I can locate it easily, I'm going to go ahead and create a file. Okay, so now it's under the file that I created. And if you open it up, you can see the 64 by 64 pixels that it creates. So now we're going to go back out, we're going to open up the game, and we're going to implement it. Alright, so now what you want to do when you're in the launcher, you can also do this on your Microsoft account as well, but it's just easier for me to do it here, so I'm just going to show it through the launcher. So you go through the launcher, you click skins, and now you want to click new skin because it's a new skin and you can name it whatever you want to name it. You also want to make sure that it matches the type of configuration that you had. Because we was editing it off of Steve skin, we're going to select classic. Slim would be if, like, what slim it would be like the arms. So because we wasn't editing based off of a thinner model, we're going to go off of classic. And what we want to do is browse our computer for the skin. As you can see, it opened up the previous place where we saved it to, and we just locate where it is, which is right here. We select it, and then we click save or save and use. If you want to use it instantly, you can click save and use, which is what I want to do, or you can just save it and then you could select later. So I'm going to click save and use, and now it's applied, and then boom. Now this is the skin that we'll be using in the game. So hopefully this helps you. It was a little complicated for me when I was trying to do it, so hopefully this clarified any questions or where to get started or whatever you had. Hopefully this was a little bit of help. You can also see that I had a test skin. I was trying to make sure that I understood exactly where to go so that I can show you exactly where to put each skin. And you'll also see here by default Steve or Alex, depending on um, what was generated when you created the account, would be the default skin. These two would be the only skins that you would see, and every other skin that you add would now add to your library. So right now we're using the Blue Man skin because it's selected under our current, and if it wasn't selected, we would just go to where it says use and we would select use, and that would be the in-game skin that you would see. But anyways, I hope you guys found this any way helpful. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.